Goal Line. I'm Luke Godissart, and today I'm going to be talking about who won the NASCAR race from Kansas this past weekend, this past Saturday night. It involved a scary crash. I'll get to that here in a second. I'm also going to talk about what NBA team won the 2017 NBA Draft Lottery. And then to close out the show, I'm going to be talking about and giving you my predictions for WWE NXT Takeover Chicago and WWE Backlash, which is also this weekend on the WWE Network, which you can buy for, subscribe to for only $9.99 a month. I have it. I've had it for almost 2 years now. If you don't have it already, I suggest you do so. If you hear any noise in the background, I have my TV on, so that's what that is. As I said, I'm Luke Godissart. I'm going to be talking about NASCAR, NBA, and wrestling today. But first, be sure to like us on our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter at ATGL16. You can also follow us on Instagram at ATGL16. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is at CoolHandLuke96, and on Instagram is at LGodissart96. That's LGODISSART 96. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Across the Goal Line. Email us at acrossthegoalline2016 at gmail.com. I check it pretty much once, twice, 3 times a week. And if you email us, I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. But as I said, we're going to be talking some NASCAR, NBA, and then wrestling. I'll get into NASCAR now. They're at Kansas this past weekend, as I said. It was won by Martin Truex Jr., who won his second race of the year. He also won at Las Vegas Motor Speedway back in the middle of March, whenever it was the first race for the West Coast trip, I guess you could say, for the sport of NASCAR. So Truex Jr. picked up the second one of the year. I'd say Kansas is his home track because their headquarters, his team's headquarters, was in the state of Colorado. And Kansas is pretty much the only Midwest racetrack that NASCAR goes to, other than Chicago later in the year. You could throw Texas in there, but that's down in the southwest there a little bit. But now Truex Jr., I believe they have moved their headquarters back to North Carolina, where most of all the other NASCAR drivers are located at. But Truex Jr., as I said, he won his second race of the year, won at Vegas earlier in the year. I said at the beginning of the show, it involved a major crash, major wreck. About 3/4 of the way through the race, Joe Logano got loose. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but if you go back and watch it, it looked like he did a little bit, and he just turned a little too hard to the left, and Danica Patrick was also involved. But then Eric Almirola came out of nowhere flying. I don't know how fast he was going, but he was flying, and he ended up T-boning Patrick, which led to her wrecking more into Logano. And Almirola, he had a compression fracture in his back. He's going to be out for quite some time. We wish him, the best on the road to recovery. Hopefully he can, come back here as soon as possible. But involved that wreck. One of the scariest ones I've seen in a while. I can go back to, I believe it was last summer, or it might have been the summer before, the Daytona race in July. At the last lap of that race, Austin Dillon went from right before the start-finish line the whole way to the start of turn 1. His car just rolled and rolled and rolled, and there really wasn't anything left of that vehicle, of that race car, after he got out of the car. If you remember that race, it didn't get over to about 3 a.m. because they had a rain delay before that, and then that had to happen, and I mean, it capped off that weekend a little bit with higher expectations, I guess you could say, than what people would have thought, but it's Daytona, going back to that. But this wreck, the red flag was out for probably about a half hour, and Almirola, as I said, we wish him the best of luck in his road to recovery. NASCAR, they are on this weekend. They do have a race, but it's not an actual race. It's the All-Star race. And as I said, I thought Truex Jr., his company, the company he races for, I believe they've gone back to the state of North Carolina, where most all the other NASCAR drivers are located at and where they live at. That's where Charlotte Motor Speedway is at. That's where NASCAR is going to be at this weekend for the All-Star race. The winner will receive $1 million. Nothing really big, if you ask me, but or if you probably ask a lot of other people, but $1 million is a lot of damn money. But they'll be going there. I also believe the winner of this race, the All-Star race, will get the pole for the Coke 600, which is actually the following weekend, the night before Memorial Day. It's always been like that, and it's also the longest race of the year. And next week, I know I'll be back with another video before the Coke 600. I'll give you my predictions for that race then. I'm thinking as of right now, next Monday, I believe it's what's today, the 18th, Friday's the 19th, Saturday's the 20th, Sunday's the 21st, and then, so the 22nd of May at 7 o'clock right here on Facebook Live. This video will also be uploaded to YouTube after I am done recording. I believe that's when I'll do my next video. I was actually going to do this video of last night, but something came up, and then it actually turned out to be better, because when I get into wrestling at the end of the video here with NXT, they had their last episode of NXT last night, the go home edition of NXT before NXT Takeover Chicago this weekend. So it actually worked out a little bit better. I was gonna bring this video to you guys last night, but something came up, and then with that, it just worked out better. So next Monday, that's when I'll bring my predictions for the Coke 600. Now, as I said earlier in the beginning of this episode of this video, I'm going to also talk about the NBA draft lottery that took place this past Tuesday night on ESPN. It's supposed to start at 8:30. It did start at 8:30, but with TV shows, they try to let it go on as long as they can, just to get the viewership up, and that's what ended up happening. They didn't announce who ended up getting the number 1, 2, and 3 picks respectively until right before 9 o'clock, right before the San Antonio Spurs and Golden State Warriors game, which was also on ESPN at 9 o'clock. And the number 1 pick, it was awarded to the Boston Celtics. I like to call them my Boston Celtics because I'm a big Boston Celtics fan. Always have been, always will be. But they got the number 1 pick in this year's NBA draft. They became the first team since the 1981-82 Los Angeles Lakers to have the best record in their conference. The Celtics are obviously in the Eastern Conference, being in the eastern part of the United States, and the Los Angeles Lakers, number 1 record back in 1981-82, best record in the Western Conference, with Los Angeles being on the west coast of the United States of America. So they became the first team since the Lakers to do that. In the 82 draft, the Lakers ended up selecting James Worthy, who ended up going on and having a Hall of Fame career. So I don't know what that has to say about, who the Celtics do end up taking, if that guy's going to have a Hall of Fame career or not. It's too hard to tell. These kids are 18, 19, 20 years old, going into, the National Basketball Association and playing with the best of the best in the world. And, it's just too hard to tell at the moment. The Lakers, as I just said, with the Celtics, being compared to them, as the only teams to do what they did. They actually picked second in this year's draft. Magic Johnson has taken over the team. Back in February he did that. And the Philadelphia 76ers, they picked third. And they might be on the right track finally. They've been down in the dumps ever since Allen Iverson got traded to Denver in a deal that I believe, a couple years after that, Carmelo ended up getting traded to the Knicks. So Iverson came in and helped Melo out in Denver there for a little bit, and then Denver ended up dishing out Melo to New York there a few years after that. But 76ers might be on the right track. They have a lot of young talent. They've also had a lot of injuries, though, in the past couple of seasons with all these top draft picks that they've accumulated. But in my opinion, they've made some bonehead decisions as well with those top draft picks that they've accumulated. And, they traded Michael Carter-Williams, the one that, comes to the top of my head at the moment, to forget who they traded him to. I believe he's playing for the Bucks at the moment, but it's the end of the season, so free agency will be starting at the beginning of July, right after the draft. So some of these guys might not be on teams by the time you end up watching this video, or if you do know who they play for, let me know. But they traded some young talent that I don't think they should have. They should have built around them. And Joel Embiid this past year, he was hurt again, didn't play a whole lot. And then Ben Simmons, who they drafted number 1 overall last year, he was hurt all year, didn't even play at all. He almost came back at the end of the season, but they didn't want to risk anything, and hopefully he'll be back to start the 2017-18 season, but we'll have to see about that. So the Celtics got the 1 pick, the Lakers got the 2, and then the 76ers got the 3. I'm going to run down 4 through 14 here real quick for you. The lottery is picks 1 through 14, and then the rest of the first round is 14 to 30, and the second round is 31 to 60. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. It's not like the NFL draft, not 7 rounds. So the best 60 players are going to get drafted, and then the rest are going to have to sign free agent deals and work out the teams to try to make the team. Come fall, come start of the next season for the NBA, and you'll see some of these guys, get drafted from all over, all over the world, really. You'll see guys get drafted from overseas, the U.S., Canada, Mexico, pretty much everywhere in the world. And some of these guys might not want to sign deals right away, and they'll go play overseas for a couple of years, and then they'll come back to the NBA. There's a guy, I can't remember his name at the moment, but the Celtics drafted him last year, I believe, in the middle of the second round, and then he ended up going back overseas to play, and he came back. I believe he signed with the Celtics just about a month or 2 ago. And he should be on the roster next season, but sometimes you see with international players as well, they don't even pan out. So it's hard to tell who the Celtics will pick, the Lakers will pick, the 76ers will pick, or even the Suns, who I was going to get to. They pick at 4, the Sacramento Kings pick at 5, Orlando Magic pick at 7, the new logoed Minnesota Timberwolves pick at 7. The Knicks pick at 8. They were hoping to get a top pick in this year's draft to, try to, play with Melo, get somebody in there that can play with them, and, build around that then. And if they got to dish Melo, to some other team, before he decides to retire, then, do so. But they pick at 8. The Dallas Mavericks and Mark Cuban pick at 9. Sacramento Kings pick at 10 again. And then the Charlotte Hornets, not the New Orleans Hornets, the Charlotte Hornets. They've been the new Charlotte Hornets for the past couple of seasons now, if you didn't know that. They pick at 11. The Detroit Pistons pick at 12. And to wrap out the 2017 NBA lottery, respectively at 13 and 14, the Denver Nuggets are at 13, and the Miami Heat are at 14. The Heat haven't been the same since LeBron left, and the Nuggets haven't been the same since they dished Melo to New York. They have a lot of young talent, though, that they can build around. They've also had some injuries, and I think Denver, if the West wasn't so damn good, I think Denver would have a chance to make a run in the playoffs and possibly get to the finals. But that's why they haven't done so in the past number of years, and who knows if it's gonna be like that for years to come as well. But we'll have to see. Now, talking about international players and stuff like that, and just all these prospects in general, it's hard to tell what Boston's going to do at one. Will they, trade the pick? Will they keep it and select somebody? I think they should keep it, to be honest with you. It's the first time ever that they've had the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I think there's a lot of good players in this year's draft, so whoever they do get, hopefully will pan out. I think they should take Lonzo Ball, though, from UCLA. I know there's a lot of criticism about him and his father, especially his father, LeVar, but, there's not really much you can do about it. You can, disagree with the guy all you want, but at the end of the day, people are still going to buy, the shoes that he came out with a couple weeks ago. They're still going to buy all of the merchandise. By the way, we have merchandise for sale too. You can buy that. You can hit me up and let me know if you want a t-shirt or a hat. But at the end of the day, come with the Ball family, and they got 2 more younger brothers too. It's not gonna be ending anytime soon. So people might as well get used to it and just get over it and move on. But people won't. But it's life. It's how the world works, and people are gonna be complaining about stuff they probably shouldn't be. But it is what it is. I can't really say more about it, but I think they should take Lonzo. He's a great player. People are going to say, don't take him because of the criticism, but when it comes down to it, he's the one playing, not his father. His father had his chance before, tried to play in the NBA, tried to play in the NFL with the Jets as a tight end back in the mid-90s. That didn't work out, and now he's just that guy. He's that father that, he wants his kid to do everything, and, there's some people out there that like that don't like people like that, but as I said, there's not really, when it comes down to it at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just how that person is, and you just got to move on. So that's what I'm going to do now, and talk about some wrestling. But before that, I want to say again, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ATGL16, subscribe to our YouTube channel, email us at acrossthegoalline2016@gmail.com, and follow me on Twitter as well at CoolHandLuke96. Follow me on Instagram. I'm also on Snapchat. If you Snapchat, you can add me on Facebook. If I know you, more than likely accept your friend request. If I don't know you, I probably still will accept your friend request unless it looks like a fake account. I get those all the time. I think a lot of people do, but enough is enough there. I'm going to move on, talk some wrestling now. Cory actually put out a video earlier today, I believe, and he put his predictions out for this weekend's WWE events, that being WWE Takeover Chicago and WWE Backlash. And I'm going to give you both of my predictions for that as well. Takeover is on Saturday night from Chicago, Illinois. WWE Takeover Chicago, hence the name. The first match, Roderick Strong against Eric Young. I'm going to take Eric Young in this matchup. I've really been a big EY fan his whole career. I just like his crazy side, his maniac side that he has to him, and I think he'll pick up the win over Roderick Strong. Two guys that I think whoever does win this match should be and be the new number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. Whoever does win that matchup later on in the night between Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami, which I'll get to here in a minute. But EY and Strong, they've been around forever. You know, they both deserve to be in WWE. They both, you know, deserve, you know, everything they've done in their careers up to this point, and then some. You know, going leading into the future. But I think Eric Young, who is part of Sanity in NXT, will pick up the victory. Another member of Sanity, Nikki Cross, is in the WWE NXT Women's Championship match at TakeOver this Saturday night between her, Ruby Riott, and Asuka, who is currently still the champion. I don't know if she's broken Bayley or Charlotte. Well, yeah, Bayley still had the record. I believe she broke Charlotte's record for the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion. But I believe Asuka is up there as well. I could be mistaken. I'd have to check on that. But I think Nikki Cross is going to finally pick up the win for the WWE NXT Women's Championship. She should have won it, I thought, the last time they faced off for the title. I believe it was TakeOver Orlando right before WrestleMania 33 back on April 1st, but you know, I could be mistaken and wrong on that as well. But I think Nikki Cross gets the win, you know, and this goes back to the Eric Young, Roderick Strong match. Whoever wins that, hopefully EY, you know, and then he becomes the new #1 contender. As I said, I think whoever does win that should be the new #1 contender for the NXT Championship. And then you have a women's champion in Sanity, and then you have a #1 contender in Sanity to possibly win the NXT Championship. So, you know, it makes Sanity a bigger force in NXT, you know, as a group, as a faction, you know, 4 members that they have. You know, but what do I know? It's hard to tell what WWE is going to do for NXT, so we'll have to see come Saturday night. But the next match on the card, there's only 5 matches on the card for TakeOver, and I'm actually a little surprised that they're having a TakeOver in May. They've had them in the middle of June, so I don't know if this is if they're still going to have one over the summer before SummerSlam or not, or if this one, you know, got moved up and it's taken the place of the one that always happens in the middle of June. But the next match is the United Kingdom Championship match between Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, who is the champion at the moment. I think Bate will retain his title. I wouldn't be surprised though with it being in Chicago, in a city like Chicago. You know, the crowd's gonna really be into it, and they like their NXT. They like their independent wrestlers. These guys were independent wrestlers before they joined WWE. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pete Dunne does win, but I'm going to take Tyler Bate to retain. And the next match then, the NXT Tag Team Championship match, the Authors of Pain are going up against DIY. DIY, their time I think is coming up in NXT. They could be up on the main roster here soon. But at the same time, we've seen talent down in NXT that, you know, we thought would be up on the main roster, you know, for quite some time, that they stayed in NXT for all that time. So, like I said, it's hard to tell what they'll do, but I think the Authors of Pain will win this match. DIY, I think, is becoming more of a jobbing tag team, to be honest with you, but as I said, what do I know? And then finally, to wrap up NXT TakeOver before I get into Backlash, the NXT Championship match, as I said just a minute ago, Bobby Roode is defending his title against Hideo Itami, who really should have been an NXT champion about 2 years ago, but because of injuries, because of a couple injuries, he's finally back in the main event scene in NXT, going for the NXT Championship now against Bobby Roode. But you know, I don't think it's time for him to put them to put the title on him. Excuse me. And I think Bobby Roode will retain, and NXT TakeOver Chicago will be glorious. And then Backlash is on Sunday. You got a pre-show match between Ty Dillinger and Aiden English, one former part of the Vaudevillains. They re-beast. They came to an agreement with the other part of the Vaudevillains. I can't even remember his name at the moment because it's been a couple weeks, about a month. since that happened. He was no good anyway. Aiden English is no good now as it is either. They should probably get rid of him as well. The Vaudevillains never really did anything on the main roster after, doing, quite a lot down in NXT. But I think Ty Dillinger, the perfect time. The crowd's really going to be in it to be into the match. It's a pre-show match. It's going to kick off the night. It's going to get the crowd into it, and it's just it's going to be from leading from Takeover into Backlash on Sunday. It's just going to be going from glorious to being a perfect 10, and then hopefully by the end of the night, we might have a new WWE champion. But I'll get to that here in a minute as well. The next match then, Naomi, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch will go up against Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. What are you doing? James Ellsworth will also be ringside for Carmella. They haven't done anything with him since the late 2016, early 2017 when he was competing against AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. But really, it was just he was just jobbing to Styles to get the crowd involved. But he's died down ever since, and it's sad, but I think they're just trying to get him used to the WWE style compared to the style he was used to wrestling in before. But I'll say it again. What do I know? Luke Harper against Eric Rowan, two former members of the Wyatt family, go one-on-one this Sunday at Backlash on the WWE Network. I think Harper is a better wrestler and a better fan favorite than Rowan, so I think he'll pick up the win. He should be in the main event scene of Smackdown, but WWE, they like to screw some people over every now and again, and he's been one of those superstars to get screwed over of a main event push in recent times. So, but in this match, I think Harper picks up the win over Eric Rowan. Another singles match. Sami Zayn goes one-on-one against Baron Corbin. This match could be a match of the night candidate, but there's also some other good matches, specifically the United States Championship match between Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, which I'll also get to here in a minute, which I think will be the match of the night. But Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, still going to be a good match. I'm going to take Sami Zayn. He really hasn't got that push ever since being moved from Raw to SmackDown a couple weeks ago. But everything takes some time. I think now will be the time to have him win on Sunday and then move forward. From there on out. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships are also on the line. The Usos are going up against Fashion Police, aka Breezango, Tyler Breeze, and Breezango. So Fashion Police are Fandango. Excuse me, that's the name I was trying to remember. Tyler Breeze and Fandango are Breezango, and now they're the Fashion Police. So they've been changing the name up a little bit, but the Fashion Police thing seems to be getting over a little bit better than Breezango and them as just normal one-on-one superstars. So I think the Fashion Police will win on Sunday, but I think they'll have a tag team match next Tuesday night on SmackDown then, and they'll lose it right back to the Usos or American Alpha. Their name hasn't been called upon a lot lately. They could get into the fold again. I think they should get back into the fold with them. But what are you doing? What are you doing? But Fashion Police will win, I think. And then the next match, Shinsuke Nakamura, ever since getting called up from NXT, I think I'll get to that here in a minute at the end of the show. Let me finish up with wrestling. I'm almost done, and then I'll answer your question. The question, by the way, is, if anybody is wondering, it's what is your prediction between Ottawa and the Pittsburgh Penguins? would you still start Marc-Andre Fleury after last night's, 3-goal first period, and they pulled him and put Matt Murray in? I don't even remember because they ended up losing 5-1. It was horrible to watch. So I'll get to that here in a second. But Shinsuke Nakamura goes one-on-one against Dolph Ziggler. As I said, ever since getting called up from NXT, he's still been one of the hottest superstars up on the main roster that's been over with the fans. And I think he'll pick up the win. Ziggler going back to jobbing. I think he's been jobbing for the past pretty much his whole career ever since he lost the world title after he cashed in the Money in the Bank the night after WrestleMania against Alberto Del Rio after, I believe it was WrestleMania 29 if I'm not mistaken. But I think Nakamura will win, and then after that I think he'll get into the fold for the United States Championship, which is the next match on the card for Backlash. And the current champion Kevin Owens goes one-on-one against the number one contender AJ Styles, the phenomenal one AJ Styles. I think Owens is going to win because you have Nakamura sitting there. He needs to get into a title picture. He just can't be doing singles matches for the next, however long. He's a great competitor. He's a great superstar. And as I say, he's over with the fans, so they need to put him in a title picture. So I think Owens wins, and then the next WWE Smackdown Live pay-per-view, I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment what pay-per-view that is, but at the next Smackdown Live pay-per-view, it should be Kevin Owens against Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. And then AJ Styles should go one-on-one against the new or the current, whoever does win the WWE Championship match between Randy Orton and Maharaja Jinder Mahal. I had to get that right. The Maharaja Jinder Mahal. We'll move into that now. So I do think Owens will win the U.S. title. He'll retain. Randy Orton, I think, will win, but I would not be surprised if Jinder does win. They probably could put the title on him. There's a good chance that they will, but if they do, going back to the SmackDown Live championships, I think they'll have him lose, the following Tuesday on SmackDown, so he'll only be champion for a couple of days. So I'm going to go Orton, and then that's the thing with Styles. I think they put him, Orton and Styles together to go one-on-one for the WWE Championship over the summer. It'll be a good summer program for the WWE, and Jinder Mahal will just then go back to, doing what he did before, and that was really nothing. That's my predictions for WWE NXT Takeover Chicago and WWE Backlash, which is this Sunday on the WWE Network for only $9.99 on Thursday. I'm going to take a drink here. Let me know what you think down in the comments below if you're watching me on Facebook Live right now, or if you're watching me on YouTube. As I said, this video was recorded May 18th between 7 and 7:30, 2017 on Facebook Live, and then it was uploaded to YouTube shortly after that. So let me know down in the comments below. Yeah, nice cold Budweiser. Let's get into hockey now. You had a question. What's my prediction between Ottawa and the Ottawa Senators and the Pittsburgh Penguins? I think they should probably start Murray. What's this game? It'll be Game 4 tomorrow night. Start Murray. See how that goes. If he's sucking it up like Fleury did last night, maybe put Fleury back in. And see how that goes. You don't want to go down 3-1 though, going back to Pittsburgh, because then you got to win out. By that point, I think everybody's going to be even more tired than what they are now. They just went through a hell of a series, a 7-game series with your Washington Capitals. The person that asked the question, if anybody's wondering, is a Washington Capitals fan, unfortunately. But, there's nothing I can do about that either. I think you got to start Murray game 4, see how that goes, and then you know, if it works out, it works out. Look at last year. You know, he never really played before that, and then come playoff time, he had one of the best playoffs a goalie has ever had, and he ended up, you know, leading the Penguins to the Stanley Cup last year. So, and winning the Stanley Cup. So, I think you stay with Murray, and then go back to Fleury if anything happens, because Fleury has the experience. But, you know, if they get it on 3-1, it's not going to be looking good. I mean, Washington did come back, you know, against Pittsburgh there and forced this Game 7, ended up losing. But, you know, I think it will go 7. I think Pittsburgh will have, with home ice, I think they'll have the edge. And will they get the Stanley Cup at the moment? Probably not, to be honest with you. But, you know, that's today. You know, that's not in a couple days, say come Game 5 or Game 6 if they get to there. But, you know, we'll just have to see. But anyways, if anybody else is watching at the moment, you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll answer them whenever I get time to answer them about anything, you know, sport related here that you missed earlier in the video, or that I did not cover, that you want to know what my take is on. Just drop it down in the comments below. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got for audience today. I talked some NASCAR earlier if you missed that, NBA in the middle of the show, and then closed with wrestling, and then some hockey there at the end due to a question. Speaking of question of the day today is, there's a Major League Baseball game on tonight around 10 o'clock because it's out west. The Boston Red Sox go out to Oakland to play the Oakland Athletics. So that's today's question of the day. It's on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. You can go check out all those as well while you're over there checking out the question of the day. You can vote on the question of the day. There's a poll on Twitter, so you can vote on that, who you think will win that game tonight. Links are in the comments below if you're watching me on YouTube. They're not. I'm sorry. They're not in the comments below on Facebook. I'm not that talented to put them down here with doing a Facebook Live video, but you know, it is what it is. If you are crying about it, well, tough shit. But other than that, as I said earlier, next Monday is when I'm going to try to do another video and just do a recap at the moment, unless I think of something else, because I did add the NBA draft lottery. I wasn't planning on doing that this week. I did add that into today's video. It's not even a hat. It's just a t-shirt sleeve just to hold my hair back. But where was I at? Yeah, I'm going to try to do a video Monday. As I said, I put the NBA draft lottery in this week. I wasn't even going to do it, but I said screw it. I put it in, and then yeah. So next week, at the moment, I'm just going to review the NASCAR All-Star Race, who won the $1 million then, and give you my prediction for the Coke 600 then, which is the night before Memorial Day. And then I'll review WWE NXT Takeover Chicago and WWE Backlash, excuse me. So that's the plan as of now. Things could change. As I said last week, I was going to do this video yesterday, but you know, I waited another day and it ended up working out, I think, even better. But that's my opinion on everything. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video, hopefully next Monday, right here on Facebook Live.